right, everybody. And we are live. Good evening and happy Thursday, everybody. Fox 35 Storm Team Meteorologist Laurel Blanchard here with your Thursday evening forecast. We're going to continue to track those storms as we head through the rest of the overnight tonight. Things looking a lot more scattered than what they were earlier on this evening. So as we do take a look, again, we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, so feel free to write in if you have any plans coming up over the next couple of days, or we are in for a very nice weekend. Definitely write in. We'll give you a little personalized forecast here on our stream, which is really exciting. Little bit of a busy day to start. We had those storms popping up a little bit earlier than what we're used to, especially with those sea breeze storms. They pop up usually in the middle of the day, normally when we see the heat of the day. So now that we are in daylight time, we are seeing those storms happening later on in the day, so somewhere around 2, 3, 4 p.m., with the majority of those storms becoming the most widespread between 5 and 6. Those storms slowly start to taper off and usually don't linger through the overnight, but today they started a little bit earlier on. They started actually just before noon and then continued, but now as we take a look at our radar right here, things are significantly quieting down. We can just see a couple of those storms continuing to make their way kind of along the Florida Turnpike right here. So let's start off in Polk and Osceola counties. Just seeing a couple of those very, very scattered showers. We'll slow this down just a little bit. There we go, that's better. So just seeing some very, very light showers continuing to linger from Haines City down to Lake Wales, Kissimmee area. Not seeing anything, but seeing just a few very, very scattered showers kind of moving up into Orange County. Epcot's right here, Disney Springs is here. So more moving through Animal Kingdom and up towards Magic Kingdom is where we're going to start to see a few more of those scattered showers if we play this on loop. This storm most likely going to be moving into the Epcot area probably within the next 5 minutes or so. Continuing to make our way across the theme park district. Looks like a shower just made its way out of SeaWorld and out of Epic Universe. That's really starting to break up. But also earlier on this evening, Orlando International Airport, and we'll actually put some numbers to this in a second, they were in a ground stop, and I believe it was just lifted up within the past half hour because of all the storms earlier on. Areas across, again, parts of Osceola County, parts of Brevard County, just seeing a couple of very, very light scattered showers, much later than what we were seeing earlier. A little bit of a shower making its way over the I-95 corridor, over Edgewater. And then backing up a little bit, moving our way, seeing another little thunderstorm making its way out of Levy County and kind of just on the border of areas across parts of Marion County. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this, and we did just get confirmation that that ground stop was lifted up. So that's the first thing I do want to check. That was lifted, but let's also just check those delays because it does take a little bit in order to get things back up and running, but it doesn't look like there's any delays at Orlando International Airport as of now. Let's take a look at some of the other airports in the region. MCO looks like it's back on schedule. Areas across the Daytona Beach Airport, Sanford Airport, things are looking good, and again, radar is much calmer than what we were seeing earlier. Hopping back to radar real quick, and if anyone does have any comments, definitely write those in. Let's back it up a little bit and just take a look at the radar estimated rain totals of what we saw today. So just popping on the past 12 hours, and we'll stop our loop that's going on. Yeah, just taking a look at the past rain showers, we can see more of those very scattered showers continuing to make their way across the region. And we're going to continue to see more of those very, very scattered showers as we head through the rest of the evening. But things are really going to be quieting down. But overall, areas, especially across the I-4 corridor, just south of Lake Buena Vista, in Polk County, just north of Polk County, or Haines City, excuse me. Just under 3 inches of rain. Wow, that's crazy. I know that we did see a couple of those storms really start to bubble up across this region, and as those storms really start to form, most of those really create some very, very heavy downpours. Areas across Winter Haven also just shy of 3 inches down towards Lakeland, following the I-4 corridor towards Plant City, just over 2.5 inches, and that's kind of like the sweet spots of what I'm seeing across Polk County. One other spot, areas just along the border of Polk County and Osceola County, 2.5 inches there. Central Osceola County also picking up quite a bit of rain. We saw some scattered showers kind of just linger over here, and they just got just shy of 2 inches. North of Titusville, if you actually check over my Facebook page, I posted a picture earlier from our Titusville webcam. Crazy downpours. Wasn't actually seeing a lot of lightning, but we did see some pretty heavy downpours earlier on. So I do want to double check to see what our estimated rain totals were across Volusia. Areas across New Smyrna Beach, they got some heavy downpours, possibly picking up closer to about 2 inches of rain. Areas by Titusville, again, got caught in some very heavy rain. They picked up almost a ½ inch of rain. And then up towards Flagler, this is what I do want to check out. Early on in the afternoon, areas right along St. John and Flagler County coastlines, they were under a severe thunderstorm warning earlier on today. It only lasted just for one cycle, so it was on for about a ½ hour or so, and they picked up a quick 2 inches of rain. So these are really just very typical run-of-the-mill storms that we normally see in the summertime, but we actually haven't seen some of these storms in quite a while. Last week we had some dry air really tap into the region, so pretty much all last week and most of this week we haven't really seen a lot of rain. So it's kind of just like, oh yeah, it's a little reminder of this is what it's like for us in June here in Florida, of those afternoon thunderstorms that pick up. They're a little nasty at some times, but then they die down very quickly, and then we have a beautiful afternoon and evening like this. I'm actually taking a look up at our webcam grid, and I'm looking at our Titusville cam, and I want to pull that up very quickly because this is actually kind of cool. Bear with me, folks. Hey, Christina in Claremont. Thanks for joining. And again, folks, we are live here on Facebook. We are live on Fox Local. We are live on YouTube as well. Hey, Craig from Palm Bay. Thanks for writing in. Yeah, everybody say hi. Let us know where you're from, where you're watching from. While I'm getting this pulled in. And I'll put in our... Ooh, those are some cool clouds right there. And I'll pull in our Hard Rock cam as well. That looks very fun as... right here. There we go. Okay, so this is our Daytona Beach camera, kind of facing back towards the city. So really gray clouds still. It's going to take a while for those clouds to kind of start to clear out. But if you look right at the bottom... Christina will talk about hurricanes in just a little bit, but you can see right at the bottom of those clouds, they kind of look a little scary, like very wispy. That's very typical of clouds after thunderstorms, especially in the Florida heat, when rain falls, but it doesn't quite get to the surface. And especially this happens after thunderstorms when that rain gets much lighter. Raindrops fall, but then they sometimes don't actually reach the ground and they actually evaporate back up into the cloud. So it kind of creates these very scary little scud clouds that we see kind of right here, kind of moving into the back. And we can also see this on our Titusville cam as well. Just some of these very wispy off in the distance clouds, but things are already starting to clear up in Titusville, seeing a couple of those clouds, a little bit on the lower side, but other than that, really starting to see that sun peek out once again. Gary, hey from Daytona Beach. Ron from Auburndale, thanks for joining us. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, definitely write in and let us know where you're watching from as well. All right, so rain slowly starting to taper off tonight. Here's what's in store for the rest of your evening. And so storms lingering just for a little bit longer. Really, they're not even storms. They're just a couple of very scattered showers out there. And as we take a look through the rest of the evening, those temperatures, they're staying mild. We're dropping those temperatures into the mid-70s, which means as you're headed out the door tomorrow morning, things are going to be mild and they are going to be muggy. I was outside for maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes taking the dog for a walk earlier on today, and I was sweating. And even coming into work, usually I come in pretty much ready, like makeup not completely done, but majority of it done. I had to put so much powder on because I was sweating just walking from my car to the station. So things were very muggy here in the afternoon. They're going to continue to stay muggy through the day tomorrow. Answering a couple questions out here. Hey Frankie from St. Cloud. And Jonathan, doesn't look like there's anything in Eustis through the rest of the overnight tonight, but tomorrow we are expecting some more storms. So here are your highs for tomorrow. Lingering temperatures throughout the low and mid 90s. Some areas going to be a little bit cooler, especially along the coastline. Lingering throughout the upper 80s. Very run-of-the-mill for us here in Florida. Really nothing new here. But tomorrow, let's talk about timing of those storms. Things are quiet in the morning, partly cloudy skies. It's a nice morning commute. And then things quickly picking up as we head through the afternoon. So really, why is these storms starting to pick up? Again, we kind of went all this week so far not really seeing too much rain. We had a good amount of rain today. We're seeing more storms tomorrow, and that's really because we have to kind of look on a more national level. And you can see this cold front right here. This cold front brought some really nasty storms across the Midwest. Severe thunderstorms. I saw some Robin saying, I miss you at WJHL. You got a lot of nasty thunderstorms yesterday or earlier on today. And now we're still seeing those thunderstorms really starting to pick up in areas across New England, along the East Coast, and then continuing to see this cold front continuing to make its way south. So really what this cold front right now has a whole lot of energy in front of it. And this is what's sparking off all of those thunderstorms that we can see out ahead of this front. But behind it, it's quiet. We actually have a lot of dry air that's kind of sitting behind this front. And this is what's going to start to make its way southward and limit our rain chances once again headed into the weekend and next week. So let's time out those storms from tomorrow. Right now, again, seeing that severe threat in areas across New Jersey, down through D.C., the Virginia coastline, seeing those heavier thunderstorms as well, and continuing just to see this cold front track south. So tomorrow, this kind of had a little bit of influence today, but it will definitely have that influence through the day tomorrow as well. This cold front totally losing its severe strength by the time it makes its way into Florida. It's going to continue to make its way down the I-75 corridor, and this is what's going to help really spark off those thunderstorms that we're seeing tomorrow. That westerly flow is really going to be strong, so that's what's going to help pick up those thunderstorms as we head through the day tomorrow, and then things are really just going to start to linger right in the center of the peninsula. So starting to see, ooh, my goodness, I did not realize I closed in that much. There we go, much better. Good, sorry for the close-up out there, folks. Where was I? Oh yeah, so seeing those storms starting to pop up in the central part of the peninsula, continuing to see those storms linger throughout the central part of the peninsula, so Orlando, Kissimmee, down towards Lakeland, areas across Claremont, Eustis, I saw a question for, going to really see those storms pick up there, and then those storms slowly starting to push westward and off the west coast as we head through the day tomorrow. So rain chances staying high, very similar to what we saw today as of coverage wise. And then once that cold front starts to tap in that dry air, that's when we're going to be seeing those rain chances much more limited as we head through next week. So here's a quick check of your 7-day. Temperatures very typical for this time of year, lingering throughout the low and mid 90s. Overnight lows lingering throughout the mid 70s. Seeing those rain chances pretty standard over the next 7 days. We'll take a quick, just couple of seconds to I see a couple people writing in on our YouTube page. So Eric's writing in from Lake Mary. Barbara's writing in from DeLand. A couple more people writing in from Facebook as well. Robert from Kissimmee writing in. But I do want to go back to Christina's question of any hurricane coming. It's quiet so far. So great question there, Christina. So right now, there is no activity expected across the Atlantic within the next 7 days. Really, it's just not our time yet, to be totally honest. So normally, on average, we see those storms slowly start to pick up. And usually, on average, we see our first named storm right around June 20th, and that's tomorrow. Again, we have no chance of seeing a storm within the next 7 days. However, once we get into the start of July, then I think things could pick up a little bit more. But for now, things are quiet. No hurricanes coming our way just yet. But as for our first A-name storm, on average, normally this is the time where we're starting to watch. And the areas that we're watching in particular is the Gulf and the East Coast. So that's something that we're really going to be focusing in on as we head through the hurricane season, at least through the end of June and beginning of July. The Gulf up the East Coast. Reason why we watch this is because the water is just so warm. It is like bath water out there. Even just going into a couple of the lakes over my weekend, it was so warm. Seeing those temperatures lingering throughout the low and mid 80s in the Gulf, low 80s along the East Coast. This is just jet fuel for hurricanes. This is something that we're watching very closely over the next couple of weeks. And so in the Atlantic, we're quiet. It's really hard to pinpoint when we could see our first storm, but honestly, enjoy the quiet while we have it, because honestly, in the Eastern Pacific, they are getting hammered with those storms, and we've been kind of keeping an eye on Eric, that hurricane that has been in the Eastern Pacific. And I do want to find this graphic, because Eric was already a historic storm in the Eastern Pacific. So this is talking off the coast of Mexico, off the coast of the Baja Peninsula, California, going out towards Hawaii. That's what we define as, I guess, the Eastern Pacific. So overall, Eric made landfall as a Category 3 storm as of 5:45 Mountain Time this morning, which is about 8 a.m. our time. Sustained wind of 125 miles per hour, and it made landfall right along the Guerrero coastline as well as the Oaxaca coastline. So we're going to continue to just monitor that, because they saw immense flooding earlier on. And the exact location of where it did make landfall as this Category 3 storm was about 20 miles east of Punta Maldonado, Mexico. So this is actually just north of a very popular tourist beach in Mexico. But again, I already mentioned that the tropics are already record-breaking in the Eastern Pacific. That Eric was the earliest E-named storm in the Eastern Pacific, first major storm to hit Mexico and make landfall in Mexico in the month of June, and it was doubled in strength in 18 hours. This thing went from a Category 2 to a Category 4 within 18 hours. It was crazy how quickly this storm just continued to strengthen. And right now, from the 8 p.m. update, it is now a tropical depression. So Eric continuing to weaken as it makes its way further on land. But you can see right here, this is where it made landfall. So as it made how it makes landfall is when half the eye, or more than half the eye, makes its way over land. So that's, I guess, what defines as landfall in the tropical world. But again, for us, we're quiet. And I do want to remind everyone, I know we're kind of switching back and forth between the Atlantic and the Pacific names, but I do want to remind everyone what the names are for our hurricane season. We're going to kick off our season with Andrea, continue through the list, and the names that we're really going to be watching in particular are the HIJK names. Of course, we had Helene last year. We had Milton last year as well. Those were heavy, hard-hitting storms. And that's usually when we see those storms peak, right in September area, of when we're getting to that peak of hurricane season, right within that window. Those are the storms that we really keep an eye on. HIJK, which is Humberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, and Lorenzo, just for fun. You will notice, actually, a little bit of a fun fact here. So we do not have a Q, we do not have a Y, an X, a Z, or a U name. And that's ultimately just because, unfortunately, there's just not enough common names in order to prepare the list about 6 years in advance. So that's ultimately why, unfortunately, if you have a U, a Q, a Y, X, or Z name, unfortunately, you will never see your name on a list. So that's a little fun fact for you of the day. But as of tropics, we are quiet. Again, this is popping up our no activity expected for the next 7 days. Here's our tropical satellite. Of course, that was Eric. So backing up just a little bit more and replacing us to the Atlantic basin, we're quiet. That's it. We're quiet. There's nothing really more to talk about. We had a lot of Saharan dust in the atmosphere. That's kind of playing a role. We're seeing very warm water in the Gulf, but a little bit of cooler water. I don't have a graphic ready for this, but we are seeing, of course, really warm water. We talked about that a little earlier. Much cooler water throughout the central Atlantic, and those are kind of almost canceling each other out. in a way. So that's what we're going to continue just to watch, and a couple things that we're targeting as we head a little bit closer to that June 20th date. But real quick, actually, for us here in Central Florida, of course, we're no stranger to the heat. We're no stranger to those afternoon scattered showers and thunderstorms. And believe me, the heat has been on. Here's what we're seeing for heat indices for the next couple of days. Feeling like 104 tomorrow. Make sure you are staying hydrated out there, folks. Make sure you are wearing that sunscreen. That is so, so important. Seeing 104 heat indice tomorrow, and then heat indices still feeling over 100 degrees for the next 5 days. But it's not even summer yet. Summer is just kicking off tomorrow night. As of 10:42 p.m. tomorrow, we will officially be in the summer season. And yes, it's been feeling like summer for sure, but the real reason why the summer season astronomically actually starts is because of the summer solstice. And the Earth is on a 23.5 degree tilt. This is how we get all of our seasons. And when we hit the summer solstice, the sun's rays are really more focused on the northern hemisphere, which is why we're warmer in the summer, colder in the winter, because more of the sun's light is focused on in the southern hemisphere when we're in the northern hemisphere experiencing winter. So that's a little bit of an astronomy lesson for you. The longest day of the year and the shortest night is going to be happening on Saturday. So because the summer solstice is actually happening between days, Friday and Saturday are going to be very similar. But Saturday we will have a whole 14 hours of daylight. Sunrise starts at 6:26 in the morning and sunset is at 8:26. So you get a whole 14 hours of beautiful daylight and actually a really nice forecast. I'll pop up your 7-day one more time as we wrap up here. But you will have a gorgeous forecast with just a couple of very scattered storms on Saturday, more of the same on Sunday as we officially have the first full day of summer on Saturday. Sunday, it's just going to be a beautiful day. And we're going to keep that beautiful weather rolling right through pretty much the end of next week. And we're going to be stuck in this pattern for quite a while, not really seeing those big sea breeze storms taking control back for a little bit. So enjoy the nice weather while we have it. It's hot, it's humid. Make sure you get outside and enjoy. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday. Have a great night. And again, make sure you're staying hydrated. Make sure you use that sunscreen and tune in on air in a couple minutes. We'll talk more details about your full forecast. Have a great night, everybody.